Hi guys, it's KKaceh again. We're back with some more Monster Hunter Rant video. This time we're going to look at the worst usable items / consumables in Monster Hunter World and take a look at each of its function, and let's see if we can find a way to actually improve the practicality of such items. Don't get me wrong, all items in the game has its usage to achieve certain things, but some of them they are just not significant enough to impact the gameplay in terms of helping the player with their hunt. So basically, with or without them, it barely gives you any edge against the monsters in the hunt. So I'm going to order them from the least worst to actual worst. So the least worst item, in my opinion, it would be the bait meat, which includes the raw meat, the drug meat, tinge meat, so on and so on. I already discussed in detail about this in my Forgotten Mechanics video, so do check it out for extra details about it. But the gist of it, the usage is very specific and very difficult to pull off, but it does give some benefits of inflicting ailments to the monsters. So the mechanics on using meat should really be changed to become more beneficial for its difficulty of execution. And once again, refer to my Forgotten Mechanics video for more detailed explanation, and I discussed it in quite a length and how it could be fixed. And the comment section in that video also provides some really nice idea, so do check it out. So the next worst item will be the throwing knife. Another item that is used to deal negligible raw damage, but it does have a faster throwing speed than the boomerang, but smaller hitbox. The main purpose of the throwing knife is being used to craft ailment throwing knife so that everyone is able to inflict a status ailment at least once during the hunt. But honestly though, it is such a pain in the ass since this item appears on very specific quests, or you need to collect them from Gajalaka, and you cannot take these items home, remember that. This item is actually very useful since you end up enabling a playstyle that allows you to basically inflict some ailments despite not having status ailment weapons, or even spending in quest time trying to find an endemic life. But the availability of this item makes it so bad that you can be bothered to even prepare the materials to craft the wanted ailment version of the throwing knife. So how would I fix this item? First, make it infinite like kunai in Monster Hunter Rise, and you can craft the ailment version as many times as you want, since the kunai will be infinite, or the throwing knife will be infinite. But to make it not broken to the point you can spam the ailment version non-stop and abuse it, I think the most obvious way would be, of course, to limit how many the materials needed to make it you can carry on your pouch, since players need to go back to the camp to get new materials if they want to keep spamming the throwing knives. Also, maybe if you want to be even safer, make the number to be limited to maybe like 50 throwing knives that you can carry in your pouch, and also make the status ailments effect to be less effective compared to other means to inflict status ailment. Otherwise, just remove this item entirely from the game. So the next item that's actually worse than the throwing knife, the boomerang. This is a very interesting items that we actually have in the game. Those who actually never use them or know this item actually exists. So basically this item is thrown to monsters and it does cutting damage for like 5 damage points, and then it will return itself to the player. Many people using these items to detonate bombs, drop some scatter nuts from its vine. So there's a theory that's currently still up even in the Fextralaf website, saying that you could use boomerang to cut a monster tail after smacking them with a hammer, and you're able to deal a finishing damage with the boomerang to cut the tail. I did a 3 test run on 3 different monsters to check whether this information is true or not, and the answer is no. You need to deal slash damage on the tail in order to cut them, which makes total sense and realistic if you think in terms of how physics works, which shows that the real world physics kinda applies in the world of Monster Hunter too. You can still cut a tail with the boomerang, but that involves you keep throwing boomerang and having tons of them ready in your camp, because they're gonna break quite fast. And this is such a waste of time. Why bother using boomerang while you can just use your own weapon to cut the tail? As you guys have heard, the practicality of this item is just very bad. Also, for detonating bombs, most players just end up whacking the bombs since the damage that you get from the explosion is very minimum. So the boomerang is clearly even worse than the throwing knife since it can break and cannot be modified. And the only saving grace is that the availability, because since you can just purchase them from the shop. So how would I fix this item? The way I would fix it, first it should have been unbreakable and make it an item that is not in your pouch, like whetstone. And in the future, Monster Hunter games should have some items or slinger bullets that cannot be reached with your weapon, and it cannot be obtained unless it is being cut. So no ammo unless slicing ammo, and slinger ammo cannot reach it either. And then the second worst item that in my opinion will be the Hunter Runestone. This is an item that you get from Witcher 3 events that basically deals fire damage with negligible damage points. And the function of this item is used against lesion to remove roots that might tangle you and your teammates. Strangely, you can also use this via this gesture menu. So it is so much better to have it as a gesture and never being added as an item. If in the future there's a collab monster that is going to be released and requires some kind of mechanics, it's better to keep them as a gesture, like the Dragoon Jump from the Behemoth quest, and it doesn't take any precious inventory space. So the worst item would be the Binoculars. In terms of hunting experience, this item is the one that contributes the least. Most players don't care on trying to look far into the area, since there's no reason to do so, as monster is tracked by Scoutfly, and they will be available in the map after you encounter them for the first time for that hunt. And also, if you want to take a zoom picture or screenshot, you can use the surveyor set that is given in Iceborne, or even just the camera function in Monster Hunter Rise. If the camera function going to exist in Monster Hunter Wilds, just remove this item. But unless if the world of Monster Hunter Wild is huge and it requires you to scout the area from afar and making a specific point of interest yourself, let's say during expedition hunt, you might want to scout ahead and mark all of the environmental traps around the area. So then it is fair to keep this item provided it could zoom in much further the camera. Another reason to keep this item it would be if the environment of the world in Monster Hunter Wild is ever changing. The weather or environmental changes like sandstorm will affect how you hunt, or there are a lot of hostile small monsters that's going to be annoying during your hunt around the particular area of your hunting ground. The binocular will help you plan your hunt a little bit more at which area you would like to avoid. But usually this kind of extreme change, since it requires more preparation instead of just non-stop action, this might end up splitting the Monster Hunter community if it's not being handled correctly. So we can only wait and see until summer when we get to the next Monster Hunter Wilds trailer. If there's any more information about how the world works in Monster Hunter Wild, I might end up making a follow-up video discussing more about binoculars, even those who are actually interested. Well, that's all I can say about the worst items in Monster Hunter World. What do you think about these 5 items? Feeling indifferent? You wish they were better? If so, how would you like them to be improved? Or these items are actually good as they are? Let me know all about the good stuff in the comment section. And I just want to say, one of the main reasons me making this kind of videos is that so my viewers are able to rev up their creative thinking when it comes to their favorite games. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I still have tons of video I really want to make, especially about Monster Hunter and Honkai Star Rail. So if any of you are new to my channel, I would recommend you to click that like and subscribe button, as it's not only you will make my life a bit better, but also you'll be notified when a new video is up. And perhaps that one video will get your creative thinking going again. Anyway, I thank you all for watching. Until the next video, stay sharp, hunters.